Welcome to my show. A guest here. His name is Anjan Kasi Sampath. Mr. Anjan, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Temito?
Fine, thank you very much, Mr. Anjan. And also, thank you so much for the time and the opportunity. Firstly, you are a TEDx speaker. You're also a software architect and the creator of the Vision X method. Can you please, Mr. Anjan, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mr. Anjan?
Thank you. As a software architect for over 20 years, I have built applications, products that help property insurance and finance industries. My background was someone like, for quarter of a life, I was that high achiever, perfect score, gold medals, those kind of things. And when I ventured into software industry and building all these things, one of the lessons that I learned back in my childhood that always there is a possibility of making your emotions and logic work together, especially when your emotions are high, was always at the back of my mind. So as I recollected all those experiences, I decided through my journey as a software architect that I need to teach, I need to train a new wave of leaders. So that's when that led me to this Vision X. Being on a TEDx platform really helped me put that message across to a global audience. And now through Vision X, I continue coaching the Gen Z, people who graduate and enter the corporate workplace, because the realities are so different for them from college to corporate. So I ensure I train them, coach them so they can shine in their careers quicker than they think.
I totally agree with you, Mr. Anjan. As a software developer who is trying to actually develop a lot of things and also try to help the Gen Z, which is the generation we are currently, to do a lot of things and also know how they can be more profoundly connected to people and how they can also work in their job, their working place, how they can also extend a title and also communicate the right way is 100% powerful on its own way. And as a person who has been in the background of software, who has also, founded or created a vision, have you written any book or do you plan to write any book regarding this in the coming future, Mr. Anja?
Yes, I do plan to write a book. In fact, I'll be part of one of the books as selected authors, and I'll be releasing my own book soon.
Definitely, we definitely expect that. So I would like to drive to the point of uncertainty in early in our careers. The career that we build today, most especially, as you said, one who has dedicated himself to actually help and also improve the life of the Gen Zs. How do you think they can start to build confidence without needing external validation or a title, Mr. Anjan?
Sure, that's a great question. When when students graduate from any college, many things are different when they enter the corporate workplace. So a lot of things are not cut and dry. They don't tell you, here's the 10 things you do, and then you will be able to prove yourself, or you'll be able to make yourself, impressive or, promotable, those kind of things. It's never written that way. It's very arbitrary. So given that landscape, it challenges the Gen Z folks when they enter the corporate workforce. Here's the first thing they need to understand. To build confidence, they need to understand the landscape they're actually in. That means, let's say you are hired for a job, you are there to solve a particular problem. There's something in there where your expertise, your knowledge is going to be useful to them, and that's why they hired you. So, your first thing is dig deeper into that place, the area. What is the problem they're trying to solve? Get very curious. What is that I'm here for? That curiosity to learn, to understand what the problem automatically leads you to the path of confidence, because now the more you understand, you're able to now say, okay, this is the problem. Here's my skill set I'm good at. It could be anything. Maybe you're good at technical skills. Maybe you're good at leadership, or maybe you're good at collaboration, whatever that is. So now you know the problem, you take your skill set and now begin to apply that in every setting, every meeting. So what happens is Now automatically people are thinking you as credible because, hey, look at this person. He understands our problem. He's using his skill set and he's telling that, okay, I'm ready to help you this way. That's it. That's the path of confidence. No one comes prepared with this. It's all something one has to learn by being in that place.
Very beautiful. Honestly speaking, that shows that we have to know how to 100% understand where we find ourselves. We do know that we're in a working place, but I realize, and also we also realize that a lot of people usually jump to conclusion and say, this is the problem, this is the problem. But when we start to put ourselves in the position to fix the issue that are on board, to put our own position to understand what is on ground and know how we can be of a part to also be solving or resolving those issues, then we will be more credible. We'll be someone that they will see, and they will even when they have discussions, when they haven't seen such person, they will definitely have to reach out to such person. Where is this person? We haven't seen this person, because they do know that this person actually brings a lot of credibility. He understands how we work. He understands the damage we have, and he also understands how we are also working on it to also fix it. And you also often talk about honing your value, because when someone wants to be very credible and understand the community and also the place he or she has found he or herself, and also know how to execute and also make people see him as the person who is more credible in the society he has found himself, what do you think are some of the practical ways listeners can try their best to identify and also try their best to communicate their strengths in the workplace, Mr. Anja?
The best way to communicate your strength is to begin with connecting with the problem, like I was saying earlier. So, what happens is, let's say you are in a workplace and there is a problem of how to reduce expenses. They're thinking through. So now, with that example in mind, after you've understood the problem, and let's say you have the ability to research and identify here are the ways you can reduce the expenses. So now you have the problem at hand. Now you have done your due work. Now apply that to in a business language, like saying, hey, I'm good at researching and finding and experimenting and saying this is the best way we can move forward. I'm ready to use that and help solve this problem here. You see what happens here? You are automatically connecting to the problem which they're really interested in solving. You are bringing your strengths and then you are showing your initiative. Hey, I'm ready to do this. Just these three things automatically people will be like, oh, wait, let me listen to this person. They just can't ignore you. They'll be really waiting to hear what you've got to say. So that strength, when you communicate, automatically gives you more visibility.
Shows that communication is very, very important in the workplace, no matter how we see ourselves and no matter what we see as the issues on board. And as you said earlier, when issues comes out and we are in the position to see those issues and look for ways we can be of help and also try our best to see how we can improve and fix it, and also giving that sense of communication, how they can, and that, as you said earlier, if we can give that sense of communication, they would definitely want to hear from us every single time, because they do know that when we are bringing out something or we are trying to give some sense of communication regarding a issue, we are trying to bring out a solution. We are trying to bring out something that could help the industry in a very, very huge way, which makes us 100% automatically credible among others, which are the little
Right.
little things. These are little sensitive things that we just need to try to understand when we are in the workplace, and we really go far and we'll be really credible and respected where we find ourselves in those workplaces. And also, one of the thing, especially for Gen Z professionals, that's really, really paralyzed them or that's really, really damaged them is self-doubt. Can I do it? Can I communicate better? Can I actually resolve this issue? What if everything goes wrong? What if this happens? Those self-doubt start to come in. So, what do you think from the experience you've had are the strategies that could help listeners, of the people listening, to move from the imposter syndrome to the inner assurance, Mr. Anjan?
That's a beautiful question. And that's a question that not only applies to Gen Z, but every step of our own lives too.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome can happen when we don't have anything within us that is tangible to compare ourselves with someone else that we are looking at. Oh, this person is really doing great and all that. What happens is we tend to think we are at somewhere like at the very beginning, like a starting point, like a zero. And this other person who is somewhere in the middle, maybe like 100 or 200, and we start comparing. I am at zero and this person is 200. Can I even match that gap?
Hmm.
That's when the imposter syndrome comes in. The fact is, this comparison itself is not logical because somebody who is at zero, you're trying to compare with somebody 100. That comparison shouldn't be done that way. Instead, what we need to do is we have to plot our own graph. So today, let's say your goal is to, let's say, go to your next level. Like, let's say you entered a corporate workplace and you are like an associate, and now you want to be like a senior associate, right? So natural, it's very natural to say, am I going to have that skill set? Am I going to be good enough? Do I have everything to take it to the next level? Good, great question, great feeling. It's very good. That means it shows how important this is for you. So what you need to do is plot a graph. Today, I am at zero. I don't know anything. Okay. What can I do to next improve myself? So when you notice, let's say your senior associate do 10 other things, can you take one thing from that and say, I'm going to prove myself to myself that I'm going to do that task, whatever that small task is. So now you see, out of the 10 steps that you know of, you have taken the first step. So now you're not at zero, you're at one. So you have plotted a graph where you yourself are able to see you progress. When you begin to plot your own progress, then comparing yourself with someone becomes much more achievable than just saying, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to do that. So that comparison graph that you draw for yourself has to become the instrument of comparison. Then what happens is this imposter syndrome will now begin to become an object of self trust because now you're trusting yourself because you're able to take those steps. Whatever the small wins are, you're able to say, I did this, now I'm growing, I'm growing. So every time, the ground rule is this: instead of saying, am I enough? Ask, am I growing? That will put you in a path of action where you're constantly growing. When you grow, there is no limit, which means you're automatically out of the imposter syndrome.
This is 100% beautiful, to be honest with you. That shows that it is a gradual process. It is something that takes time, and we have to be patient enough to actually achieve those steps and those things that we want to actually achieve when we are in a place or in a community or in a workplace. So we have to definitely try our best to see how we can stay grounded, and also how we can work on ourselves, how we can get this graph, how we can project ourselves and say, today I'm going to do this, tomorrow I'll do this, next tomorrow I'll work on this, and I hope I achieved it and you achieved it. It will make us to be in an easier way. We'll be in a better position to say, I can compare myself with this other person, and I think I'll be comfortable with it for us to work together or do things that could actually improve the growth of the industry or also the or the place we find ourselves. So that shows that it is a gradual process. We have to be patient enough, and we have to take our time to just do the little we have around us and focus on that. When we do that, we won't have the issue of self doubt. Also, I would like to that because I do know you've spoke about comparison a lot, but out of those that are also in the point of social media is a very huge space. I can get access to anybody, pictures and everything, and that's also on its own is also a pressure on its own. So for those that could be comparing their journey to others on social media, how do you think they can shift from that comparison to self-compassion? Because you spoke about it, but how do you think again they can just shift from that comparison to self-compassion and also focus on their own progress, Mr. Anja?
Sure. In today's age of social media, it not only puts pressure on that young generation, even as somebody who are not in that young generation, also it creates a different kind of pressure. In every field, you see people around, progressing. They're saying, "Oh, I made this, I made that, I was able to do this." Comparison is natural to come in. Here's the ground rule. that always I teach even my clients and here to all the listeners on the podcast. Comparisons are meant for clues, not conclusions. As John Maxwell, the number one leadership expert, once said, you need to always have the law of lid following you, which means law of lid is nothing but a ceiling, a growth ceiling that you have in your mind about yourself. That ceiling should always keep increasing. So when you get yourself trapped in this comparison, always think about growing yourself. So today you may not have everything what you see in the other person, but every step is a growth ceiling. So you're constantly not limited by one feeling that you have in your mind, but you're constantly taking steps to lift that ceiling one by one, one by one. When you do that, you will notice that you are growing. So instead of always saying, am I good enough as that person? Am I growing enough to increase my own ceiling? When you start with that thought process, comparison becomes your strength. It doesn't become your weakness. Then you begin to trust yourself to do your best to grow that, which means you are creating that compassion for yourself. Hey, I can do this. I'm growing, and I know everybody's trajectory of success is never going to be the same. Even if that person can claim, oh, here's the exact blueprint, here's the exact way I did this, you can also do. Remember, it's never exact because two people are never exact. Their paths to success will never be. But the fact that you are on a path to prove yourself by constantly lifting that lid, you are on the way to become something great.
100%. And that is what we can't compare ourselves to others because we are all different beings. We have different knowledge and we have different things we are thinking about. And what works for every single person doesn't work for the other side. So we have to understand what works for us. And how can we do that? As you said earlier, we have to question ourselves, not question others. We have to question ourselves. Am I actually giving the sense of growth? Am I actually improving in every single thing I am doing? Am I actually giving the great things that I think I can give? And is it also improving? We have to reflect on ourselves. Reflecting on ourselves will let us be in a position to know what step we need to take next. Because that is very good. Because when we now know the next step we need to take, then we start to work on those steps. Instead of just us comparison, we definitely check on ourselves with the sense of self-compassion, which is the sense of reflection. Thank you so much for that beautiful insight. And also, I would like to drive to the point of areas that one can also try their best to embody themselves today. Building confidence also takes time on its own way. So, what do you think are also some of the daily habits or also mindset practices that you think can help sustain confidence in a long term, Mr. Anjan?
Because confidence is a long process,
Okay.
what one needs to focus is on small wins, micro wins, as they call. Every time you know that there's a difficulty, let's say you are having trouble to take the first step. Let's say I'll give you in a corporate setting. You're always hesitant to send an email, or you're hesitant, is this some confidence fact email? Am I going to way? So there's this factors, those questions, those make you take the next steps. So start focusing on one simple thing. Don't think it is like an ocean. I need to conquer an ocean. So when you chunk yourself, your progress, so now you're going to be concerned and focused about one little step that you have to win. More and more steps like that, when you start taking it, your confidence builds. So now it feels like I have crossed 100 feet. The ocean is 200 feet, let's say, to go. But you build that confidence because you built block by block. That's how confidence builds. It takes time. But every time you celebrate that micro win, it gives you predictability of your own self. And then you do that. So in any setting, whatever are the tasks that challenge your confidence, note them down and start tackling them one by one. And when you win each of those, you will notice that confidence is now becoming like your muscle. You're training it every moment.
Beautiful. That shows that the little things, the most smallest things, are what we should focus on. How little it is, it actually bring out tremendous, beautiful, and huge things in our life. When we are building, or when we are in an organization, we're in an industry, or we're in working in a place, the little things regarding ourselves, let us work on it. Let us build it. Then we will see the brightness, the little achievement we have. Let us be happy about it. Let us celebrate it as if we won everything on earth. Definitely, the more
Exactly.
bigger and bigger things will come by our way. Those little things really, really matters. But if we are not amazed by the little, then how can we be amazed when we get to that sense? When we see the little we have, let us be amazed, be happy. And I think most importantly, we should be proud of the little we have with us and be confident and hope that everything will be all right. But we should make sure we are progressing. Also, Mr. Anjan, there is also a question Alamali asked during the end of the show. From our forefathers, from our ancestors, there are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mr. Anjan, what do you think that thing will be, Mr. Anjan?
If I compare to the ancestral times, times where I grew up as a child and I saw all my ancestors, the one thing that I would like to bring back is the belief in giving yourself the time to respond to a situation.
Mm.
Just hold the moment, wait for the right time to respond to a situation. I think we have lost it. It feels like everything that strikes us in our life, whether it's a crisis or a situation, we are at a very quick pace and it's almost like we have to do it instantly. Everything has to happen instantly. I need to respond to something instantly. I need to prove somebody instantly that they're right or wrong. So that time, that pace, the gap to say, let me calm down, let me give myself some time before I respond. I think that time, what we used to have, or in that situation we could leverage that time, is being lost. And I think that's driving people really insane. It's making our world a far worse place than we think, because if we all step back for a moment and respond to a situation in a much more calmer manner, I think we'll really be making our lives beautiful and the world a better place.
And that is very important. Slowing down is one of the most important things that we need to embrace on earth currently. It is not every single situation that we find ourselves we instantly eradicate. It is not every single call we start to make instantly. Let us take the time to understand the perspective. Let us also take the time to understand the other side and understand what is going on around the in and out before we start to take drastic action that could affect a lot or even a lot of things within our life. If we can take that piece to give the sense of slowing down and actually embracing and seeing the sense of reflection and trying to understand every single person, no matter what comes by the way, taking that time to just understand and knowing when to strike and knowing when to talk and not talk and giving the sense of listening. I think those things are the features that we need to bring back in our life. If we can do that in our life, it helps every single one of us. It's helped every single one of us to grow because we are all from different background. We are all from different cultures. I also want to use this opportunity to thank you for the time, the opportunity. I want to thank you for the patience because there was a lot of ups and downs. I sincerely thank you for the patience. It's meant a lot to me. And I want to thank you for the time and the opportunity of having this discussion. Thank you so much, Mr. Anja.
Thank you, Tomato, for inviting me as a guest. And it's a pleasure for me to share my ideas and what my perspectives are. And adding to your last question about that, my TEDx talk is all about that, about the situation I faced and how our emotions and logic can be made to work with each other. So I think that's a great way to connect to the question that you had. And I just hope all your listeners, will be able to take a look at that video and understand something different, some perspective about that too. But thank you so much for inviting me on the podcast.
100% recommend them to actually check the videos and also be impacted with one or two things, because these are little sensitive things that we actually need to admire and embrace for us to move forward and also become better in the life we find ourselves. Thank you so much, Mr. Anjan. Have a wonderful day,
I
Mr.
wish you all the
Anjan.
best.
Bye bye.
Bye.